Welcome back. We're joined by Rick Seymour of the Together We Stand Foundation as we commemorate Remembrance Day and think of the soldiers and all of the Canadian civilians who help support our military. And this is a great organization. So, Rick, thank you so much for joining me with your special time. Just before we went to commercial break, we were talking about one of the programs that your organization has launched, which is Operation Care Package. I'm sorry I had to cut you off for commercial break, but please explain, what does that program entail?
No problem. So most people experiencing a deployment in this country when they go overseas, if you were to know that or not, the soldiers are well taken care of. There are a lot of supplies, there are a lot of things that get sent to them, and yet back home the families are left to go on with life. So that is a spouse taking kids to school, picking them up, trying to run the household whilst hopefully working or maybe not being able to work because of all the things that are around that. And so for a week, for 2 weeks at a time, maybe that's manageable, but most deployments in this country last periods of 3, 4, 5 months at a time, if not longer. So it's a really trying period of time for the family to go through. Our care package program is designed to get gifts of thanks. We send cash cards and gift cards, grocery delivery to our families that are left back, taking care of everything on the home front. To date, we've sent out about 18,000 to families experiencing deployment. And there's a $50 prepaid MasterCard in there because, sometimes families just want a pizza or, Starbucks run or whatever it might be, plus a variety of other things. And the reception for that has been just truly fantastic because the families have told us that it's one of the first times that they felt seen and heard as going through a deployment. And we have some wonderful sponsors that support that program. And it's a really nice gesture for us to be able to send out to families.
Yeah, that is beautiful. And again, your organization is unique in that you're thinking about everybody else that is supporting this deployment but is not deployed. So I think that is so important. Uh, can you give us some anecdotes or share with us some of stories of how your organization has really been able to again help out and step up when various families needed them to?
Yeah, so one of the things about our organization is we work with a branch of the military quite closely called the Chaplains, the Royal Canadian Chaplain Services. Most people think of it as a religious sect of the military, but it's really much more than that. They're the frontline social workers that support the families that are kind of going through really difficult times. And whilst there's some other programs that might be out there in terms of short-term loans and those types of things, we've heard that oftentimes in crisis scenarios there just aren't the supports or services, financial or otherwise, for families to really tap into if they really need it. And so we created a program called our Emergency Fund. To date, we've sent about $600,000 to over 1,600 families, between 100 and $1,000 that are experiencing a crisis at their in their home front or in their life. Some of these stories, unfortunately, are quite difficult to hear, where families sometimes, for a variety of reasons, single income living in this country is very difficult. But having to choose between sending your kids to school with lunches or keeping the heat on in the household is not something that our military families should ever have to deal with. And so there's a myriad of situations that go on in those types of things. We don't share these things on social media. We don't ask for names. We don't ask for pictures, and that's not what it's about. It's
Right.
about stepping up in the most vulnerable times for families and being able to help out with grocery cards, being able to help out with emergency housing if something breaks in the house, being able to help out with emergency travels for healthcare related reasons. We feel very honored to be able to provide a small bit of assistance there. And like I said, about 1,700 families now have experienced that. And it's one of the reasons we do why we do.
Yeah, it's beautiful because again, you're not looking for flashy or big stories. You're just literally helping where the need is. They ask, you provide, and that's really quite beautiful. Why? And I'm kind of shifting gears, but related. Why is it important then that we continue to commemorate Remembrance Day in Canada?
I mean, I don't know if there's anything more worthwhile than commemorating, quite frankly, than Remembrance Day. Whether you're in Canada or any country that benefits from all the sacrifices that were made by so many families generations before us. I think today you can see clearly, whether it's in the Middle East, whether it's Russia, Ukraine, whether it's some other places that don't have the coverage. It's increasingly a dangerous place, and we're very lucky to be protected by a few oceans and in the NATO agreement and those that fought so hard for this way of life. And so it's not just about honoring those that have served and continue to serve, and but we also want to remember those that didn't come home and the families that were impacted by that. And I think it's a day of thanks. It's a somber day to remember, but it's also something that we should be reminding ourselves of how fortunate we are. And there are still so many families that serve and continue to serve. There's a lot of veterans out there that I am personal friends with that, do not look like the World War I, World War II Korean veterans that are in their early 40s that have served 15, 20 years. And they deserve a lot of thanks too. And so I think it's just a really important day for Canadians, but also people that benefit from living in our free world. That we pay a moment of thanks to all the families that sacrificed and many individuals that made the ultimate sacrifice.
Absolutely. Rick, thank you so much for being on today. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.